One. Hi, good everyone. My name is Calvin Samuel. I'm the CEO of A Feed LLC, where we believe that you can plan to self, cultivate success, and each dream is unique. So let's establish the potential within you. This evening, we're going to be having a Q&A between myself and Samuel Adams. We're both Lincoln University alum. He's from the class of 2011. I graduated from the class of 2012. So we're going to dive in with some dialogue about how you want to go about financial planning during this pandemic and what are the methods in which can be most effective from also a relationship standpoint with your money, but also from having a strategic, detailed, oriented plan in terms of your money. So the first question that we're going to go with for today is how and why is it important to have a positive relationship with your finances?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Calvin, I want to thank you for having me on your platform and talking with you for just a few minutes about finances and developing your finances through this pandemic, through the COVID crisis, and even moving forward. So initially, to answer your question, I think it's important to have a relationship with your finances because they really go hand in hand, really with your day-to-day situations with life now. So I did some research, and according to Forbes, over 78% of workers live paycheck to paycheck. So with what's going on right now through COVID, with the pandemic, automation with jobs, even today, I actually deposited a check through home. You don't even have to go to the bank to deposit your check really anymore. Everything now with automation. So with everything that's really changing with the discourse of just the economy right now, with just the uncertainty with things that may occur. You really don't know what may happen. You don't know when you may get your next meal. So the assurity of having financial stability will just, I believe, give you a peace of mind moving forward as you go on and matriculate through life.
Okay. Thank you for your input with that. Do you have any question you would like to ask me from a relationship standpoint?
Absolutely. So with financially, I really want to ask you, what do you think financially, why is it important to really have a good financial relationship? Being married, having a spouse right now, why do you think that's an important thing right now?
Yeah, I definitely think it's important because I can remember when I was about between the ages of 6 and 8, and my mom, she worked in the medical field. She's an RN. Um, for those who don't know the term, it's a registered nurse. And she would sit down with me on a Friday. We would be in a check cashing place, or we would be in, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York, just for a
Yeah.
local.
So is my
Um,
mom. That's awesome.
so downtown Brooklyn, for those who are familiar, just like a check cashing place, and then there was like I think there was like a White Castle.
Yep.
Um,
Downtown.
that White Castle was, I think it might have been like a White Castle slash KFC. It was like a couple of things going on in that place.
Yeah.
And I would sit down with me, and she'd be like, "This is what I make, and this is what your school fee is or your tuition."
Hmm.
From coming from a Caribbean background, my family's from the island of Antigua, so we say school. We don't say tuition. We say school fee, but it's the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
So with that being said, she would sit down with me and be like, "This is what I'm making. This is your tuition. This is the rent." And I think that not only helped me to see my mom writing out all these checks,
Right.
but I think that was my initial mindset when it came into thinking about how I want to really make sure that my finances are intact and
Right.
really be meticulous about what's going where and how's it going and when is this thing due. Something that me and my wife does.
Absolutely.
We have a book where we sit down and we say, okay, so all the bills for the month. This is when you get paid. This is when I get paid.
Yep.
Yes, all the money goes into the same account because we're married, and we did that before we even got married. To be honest,
Wow. That's amazing. That's
because
great.
we like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Let's just add this in. And I will say that from my wife's perspective,
Mhm.
she's the one that came to me with the idea and say, you know what, babe, I think that we need to have a joint account. Because initially I was like, okay, joint account, this is starting to get serious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I knew it was serious already, but I was just like, when you start, conjoining finances, that's when you've entered in a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So when I thought about that, I was like, okay. And then we decided that we were gonna have a budget for ourselves. We're like,
okay.
Well, our paychecks are gonna go into this account. And when we were getting married, we also had an account with another bank.
Okay.
And we would say, okay, between X amount and X amount is what we're gonna put into our account.
Mm-hmm.
That way we already know that, and we build it up. So by the time we got married, and we had a destination wedding. So by the time we got married, we already had everything that we needed.
Yeah.
And those who are not familiar with the currency between Antiguan dollars and US dollars, $1 US is about $2.70 in Eastern Caribbean money.
Wow. Okay.
Or as we call EC.
Mm-hmm.
So we already knew that where the money was going, when it was going,
mm-hmm.
just really strategically planned from the moment we got engaged to make sure that we were setting ourselves up financially. And then after we got married, we used that same account to actually continue the account
mm-hmm.
to help us be able to have finances to pay down on our home.
Wow. Amazing.
So,
that's awesome.
It's not just like, oh yeah, let's have this account for this one occasion. It's still useful even to this day.
Absolutely.
Like, outside of this money, we use it for different purposes. But having that plan already set up, I think the biggest thing is to make sure that you're proactive versus being reactionary with your finances. So tying it back to the question in terms of why is it important to have a relationship with your money is because sometimes we get into the lull of the feeling like, hey, I make X amount of dollars, let me spend it. No. I think the greatest advice that one of my friends actually told me was, if you're making 60K, just for an example, treat it like you're only making 20.
There you go.
Because you need to know what, at the worst case scenario, what you can survive off of.
Right.
Because you're making 60K doesn't mean you need to spend 60K.
There you go.
And then as I was thinking about it too, I like looking into my account and seeing that, there's a substantial change in it.
There you go.
Transparent.
There you go.
And I think as a culture and as a people, we haven't been taught, honestly, how to relate finances and make sure that those finances are done in a way that we're investing into things like stocks and real estate and 401ks and life insurance policies and making sure that we're not only just setting ourselves up, but we're actually leaving a legacy.
Absolutely.
Other cultures and other walks of life is ingrained in that from birth. I think, honestly, from my perspective, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from our cultural standpoint, I think that because we have kind of brainwashed and convinced ourselves that we have to have the latest of the latest.
Right.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't appreciate yourself. Yes. Because all the gurus that are in financial field say, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work for someone else, pay yourself first.
Yes.
But everything in moderation.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I don't need to get the newest $250 J's just to say I have J's on my feet.
How can anyone else tell they're $250? You have to probably have to tell someone that these are whatever jeans.
Right. Or you have to be a sneaker aficionado, like my mentor that's from Jersey. He also went to Lincoln University. Al Smith. He is a sneaker aficionado, so he would know something like that.
Right.
He's always been like that. He won't necessarily get the necessarily $250 pair.
Right.
He can, but he looks at like, okay, what's the details of this? What, somebody like that would know.
Right.
And probably people who I know a lot of people I grew up with from New York. We were like really into that when we were in high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We knew, what the retros were and, the Converses and the high tops and all these different things. But all those things devalue and depreciate over time. You want to start to learn from early, how do I invest my money into things positively that are going to appreciate in value over time?
Right, absolutely. And that's stuff that we're just not taught on at a young age. I really want to commend you and your wife for starting before you got married, really started a foundation of what we're going to save, how we're going to save it, and what's the plan for it. It's not just going to stay in the account and accrue an interest. It's just not going to stay in the account so we can just pat ourselves in the back and say we have X amount of dollars in our joint account. No, this is going to go to a property that we're going to own. This is going to go to stocks. This is going to go to something that's going to appreciate over time. And that's the same thing my parents taught me as well. Literally, they said, if you make $60,000 a year, live like you make 30. Live like you make half of that so that when times do get tough, you know how to survive on that amount of money. And anything extra that you have, just save, but also have a plan for that saved money that could go into a property, that can go into an investment vehicle like a mutual fund or a stock, something that's going to appreciate over time for yourself and for your legacy moving forward. Because I really don't believe that we don't want our kids to start or with nothing or with less than what we started with, but it's just no sense of direction to where to position them so that they don't have to start from a negative place after they leave the house.
Exactly. So I'm going to segue into our second question. How can the outlook on finances either motivate you to spend, because we talked about this a little bit, but I want to go a little more into detail, or save? Is there value in one over the other?
Calvin, and then this is a great question. So I really did some thinking and really did some work with this over the years. And what I've realized over the past, I would say 2 to 3 years, I think it's great to save. I think it's great to pay off debt, first of all, paying off your smallest debt first, and then snowball that to the next debt, until you get the biggest debt to pay that off until you're completely out of debt. But I think the main key for millennials and Gen Zs moving forward, I think it's important to have income consistently coming into your household. Create a money-making machine for yourself. So, for example, in 2010, $100 is worth $100, but with 1.64 to 3% inflation rate over those 10 years every year, that same $100 is now worth $119 in 2020.
Oh, okay.
So over those 10 years, it was a 1.9 interest rate over each year since 2010. So I believe having a consistent income stream for yourself would be the best bet, because money continues to grow, money continues to evolve, but also everything continues to go up over time with gas, with groceries, dining out. Even for car service, having your car service while you go out is actually costing more now over time. So I believe paying off debt is great. I think saving money is great as well. But like we spoke about previously, we touched on, just having that saved in your account without a plan for it to be put into an investment vehicle to grow for yourself is just null and void. It's just the best possible way is just really having continuing flow of income coming into your household. That $50,000 you're making passively in your household in 2010, yeah, it's $50,000 in 2020 as well, but it's a consistent flow of income. It's just not something that's staying in your account that it can grow or stay stagnant over time. It's actually something that you're continuously growing and continuously earning over time.
Right. So I want you to kind of, because you had some really great points. First one, I want you to kind of go back and make very crystal clear to our audience is residual versus passive income.
Right.
And what are the tangible ways in which, regardless of wherever my pay scale is,
Right.
what can I do in terms of that?
Right. Absolutely. So what I learned with residual income and passive income, it's money that you make that doesn't require you. So if you have a business and you, let's say you hired someone within your sales department, and you taught them the business, you taught them how to make sales, and they go out into the field and they make a sale. Let's say in real estate, they go out and make a sale on behalf of the real estate company. Let's say the commission was $1,000. They made $1,000 for themselves, but you as the broker, you made, let's say, for example, $100 in override from that because your agent using your umbrella, using the tools that you taught them, actually made that sale. You get an override as a business owner. So you didn't go out there and make the sale. You didn't go out there and make that call. You didn't go out there and set that appointment and close that sale. You taught this individual, this agent, and then hence after doing that, you receive something called an override, a residual income, passive income. So you can be on vacation with your wife or your family and make that kind of money. You can be at church and make that kind of money if that individual at that time make that sale. You can be asleep and then you can have an agent in Los Angeles at different time zone and make that kind of money as well. So that's what I mean by residual passive income.
And then the second point of what you had discussed about compounding using your smallest bill and then adding it to the next one and then continue to add on to it.
Absolutely.
So people who don't know what that term is, because I believe it's compound, but I don't quite remember what the second part is.
Absolutely.
Can you dive more into that?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a few terminologies. People say compound. People say snowball. I tend to use both a snowball or compound interest. But essentially, what it is let's say you have a credit card, you have your car loan, and you have your mortgage. Let's say your credit card a month is $50 a month, and you have to pay that over time until it's paid off. So what I teach and what we believe at our company is actually paying off that $50, working on paying that first. So paying off that smallest amount of debt that you owe. And then once that's paid off, use that same $50 that you would spend on that credit card and use it to pay off your car loan. And say your car loan is $350, $400. And you use that money over time after the car is paid off. We're going to use that money, that credit card money, $50, that car loan, $400, and use that money to pay towards your mortgage. So you're not paying any extra money, paying extra money on interest. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul when you're paying your bills, so that it can actually be a continuing process of paying off your mortgage after you paid off the smallest debt, and then you worked on paying off the next biggest debt, and then the next one. So initially it may be, let's say, $3,000 that you're paying off your bills, but after a while it's going to be from the smallest debt to the next biggest debt to the next biggest debt. We're using that momentum and that monies to pay off towards your mortgage or just bigger debts that you have, so that you can essentially be out of debt faster without paying more interest towards it.
Okay. Now, for someone who's an entrepreneur, who's owning a business, or even someone who's trying to gather real estate, how can they use the concept of snowballing or compound in those two areas?
So in real estate, to purchase real estate, or just to
purchase real estate. So say if I have a property already, my home, and I wanted to take out the interest on my home or take out a loan on my home to be able to purchase another property. Right. What would be the proper aspects or details in terms of how to actually do that effectively? So I'm not putting myself in a bind, but I'm using my assets and things that I build up to put into my home to be able to purchase another property.
Absolutely. Well, first,
the idea of it, but they don't really know how to go about doing so.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I would say just get real well versed into actually taking out a second mortgage on your house, see how much equity you have in your house. Make sure you're not over leveraged yourself. So let's say, for example, if you don't have any equity into your house and you want to take out a second mortgage, really just know what you're doing and have a plan for that. I don't know if some people take out second mortgages to get flashy car or to get a timeshare. I'm not sure what the plan with that of that would be, but if you do something like that, I would actually use that money to, like you just said, purchase probably another home or purchase more of a surefire investment in terms of stocks and mutual funds. In terms of using that for a compound or snowball effect to actually use that to pay for more for other investments, you can use that same analogy for saving yourself to actually put yourself into a position to actually purchase those investment vehicles and those investment properties for yourself and your family as well. It could be you may not have the money, but you may want to put $25 a month initially into your savings account before you actually grow on further. Possibly get a side hustle, a side position, whether that's growing a business part-time, becoming an agent part-time as well. Really use those 24 hours in your day after your 9 to 5. See if you can find multiple ways to make extra money. I will rig these leaves for $100 at this complex. I will drive Uber. I know with the pandemic right now, things have changed a little bit, but I will drive Uber. I will learn a skill, learn a continuing thing that can never take away from you. That's something like knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is power. It's just like education. You can't take it away from us. Learning a different skill in terms of sales, that can never go away from get away from you as well. That you can learn and teach yourself how to make extra money, so that after you have a good amount of money you saved, you can put that towards your investment.
Absolutely. Third question: how do we build the idea of working towards your own goals and brand while using the benefits of a job or career to help you bolster your vision, passion, and dreams in life?
Absolutely, Calvin. So first off, it starts here. It really starts mentally. You really have to believe that you are worth and worthy of everything you can receive and everything you should receive because you've worked for it and because you deserve it. So I believe the first step is really mentally. You really have to get your mind right initially. Next, cast a vision for yourself. And really write out big goals that make people may want to talk bad about you behind your back. People may make you think you're crazy for putting together those goals and dreams. I listened to Les Brown, and he said the problem isn't that people don't aim high. They aim high and they don't hit it. The problem is they aim low and hit the target dead on.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main problems. So we just don't set big enough goals for yourself. So I would say set big enough goals for yourself. Write it down as well. Write it down so that you can see it consistently. I know everything is on our smartphones right now. So type it in your smartphone and save it in your favorite and watch it every day. Look at it every day when you're on your job. When things get frustrating at your job, when things get frustrating with life, just look at your goals. Look at your dreams. Have a map out in place for your yearly goals. Your yearly goals, your quarterly goals, and then your monthly goals, weekly goals. Have everything planned out from year, and then break it down so that you can have a plan, an actual map, a guideline of where you're going within your steps of achieving your goals and dreams. Also, next, have a plan of action. A massive plan of action if you really want to get big. We say big goals, but you want to work for 10 minutes a day on those goals and dreams. We got to have big goals, but we got to have a massive plan of action. One of my favorite scriptures, James chapter 2, verse 17, faith without work is dead. We have to continue to really put together the work. A good day, down day, things turn around. in a certain kind of day. You always have to continuously work because the goal is on the other end of that pain. The goal that you want to hit is on the other end of that fear. And lastly, after having a massive plan of action, really is have an accountability partner. I really don't care if it's your spouse, if it's your neighbor, your coworker, your parents, a sibling, yourself, holding yourself accountable. If you're that disciplined, always have an accountability partner. So you want to change jobs, but you haven't applied to a job in a week or two. Hold yourself accountable. Take something away from yourself that you don't. I like sweets. Okay, I'm not going to have sweets this week because I didn't apply to other jobs. I'm going to apply to 20 jobs this week, and then I'll treat myself by having this dessert. Always have yourself an accountability partner. If you want to make this particular sale that you didn't get, but you only made one call this week, and you're frustrated why you didn't make a particular goal in terms of sales for the month, have an accountability partner. Have someone that's always there trying to hold yourself accountable. I had a goal to lose 20 pounds this year, but I'm eating out every day. I'm eating 5 times big, heavy meals a day, and I'm not working out. Have yourself an accountability partner. Definitely don't beat yourself up over time. We all human. We all make mistakes, and we all definitely fall down. We all come short all the time, but learn from it, grow from it, pick yourself back up, and get back on the horse, because in due season, I believe you shall reap if you faint not. So continue to really develop and hone those skills and develop those good habits, because we are our habits. We can be a good person internally. We do great things, but if we just have horrible habits, we are the end result of those horrible habits.
I agree. So there's a couple things I pulled out from what you had said. In the scripture, it says, write the vision and make it plain.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
We hear that all the time through sermons, and it kind of, in some instances, gets watered down and feels like, oh, this is just another scripture. But I like the fact that you went in detailed about, hey, what's my daily goals, my weekly goals, my monthly goals, my yearly goals, because that's just how businesses operate. They look at, okay, what is the big goal for this year? What's my big goal for 5 years? What's my big goal for 10 years? Right. And then go very meticulous in details and see how, from a daily basis, from a weekly basis, from an hourly basis, from a monthly basis, how are we doing in terms of projecting towards our goals and towards our quartile,
right?
In terms of our progression towards our goals. And you mentioned sales, but it's the same thing you can operate in terms of your life wherever you are.
Wherever you are, absolutely.
You know, take stock, take inventory, take assessment of where you are right now in this moment at this time versus where you want to go. And actually plan that out, write the vision, make it plain. I like the fact that you said that. Also, I will add to that, one of the things that I'm disclosing here, so it's kind of breaking news, but I have wrote a chapter in my previous book called Creating Your Circles, Building Your Confidence Within, about talking about the idea of accountability and the fact that me and 2 of my other colleagues from Lincoln University, we would go ahead and call each other by the profession that we saw each other being. And today, I'm an educator. The other person that I mentioned in my book, he is a professor and he's a doctor. And he got at a very young age.
Yep.
And one of my sisters that I call my sister, she is actually a lawyer for a Bronx Public Defender's Office and has multiple businesses as a CEO.
Wow.
And he goes by Dr. Ja. And he has a company called Elite Universal, has been on Disney Channel, has done TED Talks, has done a number of different things. Juan Alicia Famborough, who's a Bronx Public Defender's attorney, does great work, has a business in which she's selling shea butters to be able to help the youth that are from Bronx
Wow.
to be able to, get scholarships and get applications and
Mhm.
get different things going in. It's just doing great outreach work in the community.
Wow.
And
Absolutely.
from a personal standpoint, one of the things and I believe that God brought us together because of the fact that I said I wanted to create a partnership. And then I remember when you had contacted me out of the blue, I was like, hey, I saw your page, da, 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 da. And that was right in the vision and making it plain for myself because I said I want to create a partnership, and I didn't know that the partnership would be coming from someone who's in the financial field, who graduated from the same institution that I graduated from.
Lincoln, yeah.
So, and is godly individuals and have the same mindset and the same vision in terms of the view of marriage, in terms of the view of finances, in terms of view of what it is to be an established Black male in this society as it is currently constructed during these times of a pandemic, dealing with transition, dealing with going from one president to the next,
Mhm.
with all the injustices that our people have gone through
Absolutely.
and all the things that have happened, and still yet standing on God's word and on God's promises. So, I didn't know that when I made that vision and made that prayer, that this would be something that would have been actually in this moment at this time.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
when God does things, he does all things well. He
Absolutely.
does all
Amen.
things.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to really highlight that because
Yes.
certain times we feel like, hey, you know what? I don't really know if this thing that I'm doing on this day
Right.
is making that much impact or making that much progress.
Right.
I'm not one that normally talks about myself or about my business, but I'm being led, so I'm gonna go with it.
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
I've been posting videos on Facebook, and I talked to a
Mhm.
colleague of mine from work,
Right.
and he had mentioned to me, he was like, "Man, I love your videos. Your videos are fire. Your
Absolutely.
motivation videos that you're doing, keep doing that, keep grinding." And I was just like, because you have when you have that, if we're just all being transparent, you have those moments where you're like, you know what, I don't know if what I'm doing right now is really bringing forth the fruit that I want to bring. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, people are viewing it and people are liking it, but how do they really, are they watching all the content? Are they really looking into everything? Are they really judging it for what it is, or are they just looking at it because they're like, oh yeah, I have to do my phone, and I know this person through a job or through
Mhm.
whatever. And it's really important to continue working even when you don't see it,
Oh, yeah.
because
That's
in
right.
the word it says that what happens in the darkness has to come to light.
It has to. It
And
has to.
it's not looking at it from a wrongdoing type of thing, because I think sometimes people use that scripture as yeah, if you're doing something wrong, it's gonna happen. No, the work
Mhm.
that you're putting in when nobody's looking
Mhm.
is what propels you down the line to be
Yeah.
great. And
Absolutely.
anybody who is successful at their craft, they will tell you that.
Absolutely. And Calvin, I would love to take this opportunity to encourage you and also encourage everyone else watching and listening. The night is darkest before the dawn. And I know that sounds corny, but when in the midst of adversity, that's really the time to double down and keep working. I got this from someone else as well. From a business perspective, you're really not even supposed to be looking up for air until after 10 years. You put 10 years of consistent work into your business. You may not have made any money for the first 8, 9 years, but that 10th year, you make $500,000, $200,000, well, whatever goal that's just exploded in your business because you laid the fruit and foundation over time consistently. You just laid the seeds, water it, continue to work, and just watch and watch it grow. I'm a firm believer in that. So really, just want to keep you encouraged and everyone else watching. Just keep going, brother, with the videos, with the information, with your book writing, with your development as a man, husband, businessman. a man of God. Just keep moving forward because, again, in the scripture, in due season, you shall reap if you faint not.
And also in the scripture, be planted by the rivers of water, bringing forth fruit in your due season.
Yes.
Like not every season is gonna be sweet. And going back to my reference from my background, my family's from Antigua.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that heritage. We don't pick a mango without it being ripe.
Right. There you go.
You know when you have a full, juicy mango, and when you know it hasn't been quite, ready yet. So don't get downtrodden in what the season is presenting itself from, because in each season, you're supposed to learn something from that season that propels you to the next one.
Absolutely.
We have summer, fall, winter, summer. They don't get in conflict with one another and say, oh, no, it's my time to shine. They understand everything is a process.
There you go.
Sometimes we get so caught up in the results that we don't realize what the process really entails. The process is where you get the fruit of your labor.
Right.
The process is where you're making that consistency that you mentioned, that you can explode in terms of your dreams and your passion and your vision.
Absolutely.
Not only from a financial aspect, but just how you live from day to day. So I'm going to segue into our next question. Why is it important to have a financial plan?
Man, it's very important because it's really the roadmap to life. Really, so financially, if you don't have a plan, in my opinion, it's the roadmap to everything else in life. You just don't have a plan, in my opinion, for anything else. You may not have a plan for yourself on the job. You may not have a plan for yourself in your relationship if you're in one. You don't have a plan for yourself as a person growing as an individual. I believe that we're all work in progresses. We're all trying to learn and grow different things every day. And we are all learning and growing just as a natural maturation. But with finances, as I talked with previously, everything's increasing. The value of $100 10 years ago is not the same as it is now. Everything is growing. And if you're still on the mindset of yesteryear, of things happening before then, before now, you will not catch up to what's going on right now. So I'll give you a perfect example. With our industry and financial services, we were implementing Zoom every now and then. Now, a lot of the younger people in our office and really in our company were actually trying to encourage our mentors. We should be on Zoom more. We should be on Zoom more. And it was, yes, but it was more of dragging of the feet. When the pandemic hit and everyone was home, everyone thought that our industry would actually tank. It actually grew even more. Our business here grew even more because we were able to service people through a Zoom call. So even before, if we would want to hire someone in California, we would have to network them in a California office. Well, now with Zoom, they can actually just come into our office and we don't have to do extra paperwork and put them into an office that we may or may not want them to be in. They can actually go be in Zoom with us right now. So it's just a constant elevation of life with just technology. And it actually with finances, I think it just goes hand in hand. If there's no plan for anything financially, then your money was set in a bank that grows 0.001 interest. If you don't have a plan for it, you'll blow it on blackjack. You can blow it on betting the sports games. You can burn it or blow it on really anything that doesn't yield tangible, positive results for yourself and your family. So I think having a plan for your finances is very good because it will show, I think, and it'll be indicative of you having a plan for your life, having a plan for really just your family and as a visionary moving forward.
Absolutely. I think I kind of got into the idea of, because when I was 18, I mean, I've heard about it in terms of financial planning, but it didn't really become a thing until like, I would say maybe 2-3 years ago, when you start adulting and you having real responsibilities. Can you talk to like the young people who might be like in high school, college, like we both had the opportunity to go to, that making it clear for them at their stage, at their juncture in life right now. Like, how do I financial plan when I might be eating ramen noodles and I'm not making a whole lot of money, to be honest. Like, how do I go about financially planning?
Well, first, I would say, again, another one of these situations, I would get well versed. I would get to reading. Google really is at the palm of our hands. We have the world literally in the palm of our hands now. I would say when you start off young, whatever you make, a lot of times, if you really don't need it per se, I would save it. I would actually save it actually for yourself moving forward. So you can have, let's say if you have $5,000 at age 18 and you're coming out of college, with that same $5,000. Let's say that $5,000 you put in a mutual fund over those 4 years, it grows to $10,000. You have better footing than majority of the people coming out of college right now. I will continue to be well versed really in your finances, but also a few other things with young people. I had to have a conversation actually with my father actually a few days ago, and I was actually explaining to him why, whereas even in his days, you could actually, he had a term saying mess up your 20s. When I was your age, back then in the 60s or 70s, that we can mess up our 20s and recover when we're 30s, 40s, and things of that nature. And I'm not a proponent of that. I believe right now, if you intentionally mess up your 20s, you may not be able to get back on your feet because things are constantly changing. Things are constantly evolving. I say if you're very, very young, really read up on mutual funds, read up on real estate, read up on Roth IRAs, read up on actually earning extra money for yourself and have it saved for yourself so that you can learn how to invest that moving forward. I believe that the days now of blowing your 20s are over. I believe you really need to be, from a maturity standpoint, an adult, maybe even in college and definitely after college, because life comes with its haymakers coming out of college. And if you're not mature enough to actually withstand the brunt of that, you can get swept into not believing in yourself, which you should never do. But you can actually get into a lull of certain things because things have not worked out in your favor as quickly as you may have thought. So I think you really should be try to increase and improve your maturity level as a man or woman, young at 18, going to college, or even if you don't want to go to college, learn a trade, learn a specific skill for yourself. But in all aspects of what you're going through in life, please go through it with a heightened sense of maturity and a heightened sense of awareness and a heightened sense of just assertiveness and also just purposeful. Everything has to be on purpose. Whether you're interviewing for certain jobs, working at a side job, spending time by yourself, resting, everything must be done with a purpose. Nothing can be lackadaisical. Everything has to be accounted for and purposeful.
How do you think then, since you mentioned foundation, what things tangibly do you feel you have gotten from our alma mater, Lincoln University, that have helped you propel you to the success that you are at now?
I've learned really from my alma mater, if you fall down, get up. Get up quickly because things will continue to move forward with or without you. My dad instilled in me books to read, self-improvement, self-development books, whether it's finances or just developing as a human being. But Lincoln really propelled that, really put it on steroids. I believe, like I said previously, we are all work in progresses. So I have books in here that I still read to this day. I definitely listen to different videos as well with the emergence of YouTube just to improve yourself. It's a constant development. It's really like washing. We don't wash once every 4 days. So why are you self-improving once every 4 days? Listen to something, whether it's 10 minutes a day, just listen to something to reassure yourself that what you're doing is worth it. What you're doing is for the greater good for yourself. And that's what some of the few things that Lincoln has really told me. Just get up, just get back up, whether you feel bad for yourself for a little bit, but just know someone else may come back around and take what you really wanted and what you've been building. So just get back up, get back on that horse and try again with a different perspective, probably with a different angle, to achieve that goal. But definitely get back up and don't feel sorry for yourself, and just continue to work towards those goals.
Yeah, I think one of the things that LinkedIn has taught me is the understanding that whatever you go through in life is not just for you, but to be able to not only support but also mentor someone else who's going to go through that same situation.
Right. Absolutely. There you go. Absolutely.
I concur with what you were saying in terms of your analysis that you had both things and get back up.
Definitely.
When I was a student leader ambassador at Lincoln, I always told my students that what you learn outside of the classroom is going to be far greater than what you learn inside of it. Not to say that what you learn inside the classroom is not what you're here for, because that's what you paid your money towards.
Absolutely.
The lessons you learn outside of it are invaluable.
It's learning real life skills. It's treating the lunch lady with the same amount of respect that you would treat the director of your department, or the CEO that they brought in to talk to the students for the business department, or that writer, that great writer that they brought with the communications department. It's treating everyone with respect. It's having discernment. It's making that conscious decision on that Thursday night. Should I go to that party, or should I study for that test that I have on tomorrow or Monday? So it's all those decision making that you will actually learn, I believe, on that college campus at Lincoln and in the other campus.
Exactly, because going to the tunnel.
Yeah.
Fun moments indeed, but
fun moments every Thursday too, or weekends.
They definitely understood that was the main focus. You definitely had to graduate at the end of the day.
There we go. 4 years too.
Exactly. That was the goal, and that was the mission from the day one you stepped on campus.
Yep.
So why having income in terms of protection in life insurance during this time where so many things are just uncertain? Why having income protection and life insurance is very important during COVID.
Oh, it's very important, in my opinion, right now, for a few reasons. So with COVID and the pandemic happening, it's a lot of insurance companies that are not covering people, whether they get it or they're just making it really, really difficult for people to get covered. And with the fluctuation of the job market, we've had over 40 million people that are out of work. And when you're not employed with that company, you're not covered by that company with that insurance policy, with that income protection policy. So when you have your own plan as an individual, as a visionary for your family, as a mother for your family, you know that you are protected. You know that you have that insurance for yourself, as well as that investment working for yourself as well, not just being totally dependent on that corporation or for that job of providing that financial freedom for yourself. I also have a saying when things get tough: if it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. And if you have to have that actual plan for yourself and not depend on that corporation helping you for that kind of freedom, because it's your job to liberate yourself and your family and to become free. It's that job's job to keep you subservient and beholden to that actual job so you can do that job effectively and efficiently. So it's very important to actually have your own income protection plan outside of work, because you're not sure whether something happens to you. Are you able to tap into those that life insurance because you have COVID? Who knows? Really, right now, this is something new that has happened right now. But when you have your own policy and you know the terms of your policy, you can actually have more of a peace of mind moving forward. Lastly, I wanted to bring up, I'm not sure if you remember or aware, back in 9/11, when it happened here in the area in New York, or when the towers fell down, the Pentagon, President George W. Bush actually said this is an act of war. And when he said that on television, that put a stop from a lot of insurance companies saying that, hey, this is an act of war. It's actually a war exclusion on a lot of people's policies that if someone were to pass due to an act of war, they don't have to pay out those premiums. They don't have to pay off that face amount. However, with our company, we were able to do that, and we provide the death claim and the payment to people 96% of the time within 14 days. I just want to put that a disclaimer out there as well. But also please read your policy and read up on different insurance companies, because some companies do provide that. Some companies provide no matter what happens, they will pay out. And some of the companies is just a lot of political jargon that you may have to walk through in order for your family to be protected. And by that time, bills have crept up, everything has crept up, and a lot of stuff will go to those bills. So definitely be well-versed and read, and really just do the homework. But have that plan for yourself and your family, because no one's going to take care of you better than you.
Absolutely. So 2 things from what I got from what you said. We're feeding a vision anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful of the vision that you are feeding.
There you go. Bingo.
You know, let your vision of where you see your life go,
mm-hmm.
or the trajectory and where you see it's going,
yep.
be downtrodden or be subjected to what a corporation or a job's vision is. Because we all know, as it was mentioned, in the job market, it's fickle.
Very fickle. Right.
There wasn't really an idea of, oh, let me put work into my own business.
Right.
It's something like, oh yeah, that's a cute idea, but when am I really gonna have the time when I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to provide for my family, right? And now more than ever,
mm-hmm.
I've checked all my social media. I've seen different things that have happened in TV.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen. One, there's a lot of people who are taking this opportunity to build businesses.
Yes.
For needs that people have. And then the second thing that I've seen is that some of these businesses that I've been seeing,
right, yeah,
coming from Lincoln alum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that, one HBCU is better than the other, but
right.
I'm just kind of stuff right now.
It's all right.
Put it out there. We kind of running stuff right now. So that's the plug for Lincoln University. Yeah, like on a serious note though, you're really feeding a vision anyway. So like, you really have to make a conscious decision. Do you want to feed your vision, or do you want to feed someone else's?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that bills are not real. I'm not saying that you should not take care of responsibilities for yourself and your family. Yes, but if a job decides that they want to drop you today or tomorrow, it will do so.
Absolutely.
If that the opportunity cost between me paying you 120K or bringing in this person that's gonna cost us half that amount, 9 times out of 10, their allegiance is gonna be to probably bring in a person that's gonna be able to do just as much as you do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing would be, it's subconscious. A lot of people, we get up, we brush our teeth, we put the kids together, go to work 9 to 5, come. It's a subconscious thing, but it's also subconscious for you to come home and not put any time towards your goals and dreams. And that's okay before, but now.
Mindset, right?
Right.
If you really want to get the most out of what you're trying to do, you can't live in a 9 to 5 world.
No.
Punch out kind of thing.
No. And hey, have that 9 to 5, have that plan. But when you come home, you have a 5 to 9. You have a 5 to 9 on your goals and dreams so that you can transition out of that 9 to 5. Now, I'm not saying have one good month and quit your job.
Right.
If you have bills and you have other things to take care of, have some momentum first. But if you have that momentum that you've built up from your 5 to 9, transition, and imagine how much you will get done if you put 12 hours into that 4 or 5 hours after work from home, which is a lot of energy and time that you invested, because that 9 to 5 is just bird feeding you. It's just giving you enough to come back to not work on your goals and dreams on the weekend and at nights, thinking that you're okay. And before you know it, it's never a good time when layoffs happen. It's never a good time when firings happen. It's always at an inconvenience, and it always comes at a shock. And us as individuals, Lincoln men or just men and women in general, especially in our community, we need to be armored with money saved. We need to be armored with income coming in from a different source. We need to be armored with a financial plan outside of work. We just need to be armored with applying the knowledge that we have so that we're just not blindsided. God forbid things may or may not happen.
Right, because honestly, at one point in time, in my early 20s, I was working 3 jobs at one point in time.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of some of the people that, are going to watch this video and listen to this video.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What we're tangibly saying is the time that you're taking to make 3 different people, sometimes 4 different people's visions happen, take a chunk of that time and actively make your own happen.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Honestly, that from the financial planning, from building into your own business, and we want to make sure that we're giving you tangible tools. Absolutely. So, as an example, the book that I had launched March 5th of this year, that's on Amazon for sale. Creating Your Circles, Building Your Confidence Within. I had been writing that book. It took me 7 years, and
Yep.
7 years to be able to actually go from starting to actually launching it. Every year I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna, do it. I'm gonna do it. The tenacity and the ferocity that I have at 30, about to be 31, if I took that time back then to actually do the things that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by you go through things and you learn lessons from them that help you get wisdom. Life is your greatest teacher.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And go through is your classroom.
Yes.
So if I had used that knowledge back then that I currently have now, only God can tell how much more you could have been. But again, everything is season. So in order for me to understand and appreciate where I am now, I had to go through those situations.
Right.
Up and down, up and down, up and down, not having a car, far out to campuses to do my graduate work. From that, being tired, coming back at home at 10 o'clock, getting back up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't do this kind of stuff, but also understand that shouldn't be from 20 to 70.
Right. There you go. Yes.
Like that you do what you gotta do in the moment. Yes.
Absolutely.
Take care of this. But understand that there is another way to look at things that sometimes glossed over because we need the immediate finances coming in and are not always receptive or open to the idea of really doing X and following up with saying X.
Absolutely.
Well, do Y. Well, we don't always have our purpose meet our promise that will give us the opportunity to open that opportunity for the proposition to come available to you.
There you go. And a lot of times I've also read that and also realized and lived that youth is wasted on the young. I was young too and made stupid mistakes as well. I even said to myself a few weeks ago, if I knew what I knew back then now, I knew it subconsciously, but I really didn't know it.
I didn't have a road.
Right. I didn't know it in reality, and I didn't practice it enough. That's what I said. Going back again. Unfortunately, I know the young want to be young. They want to be flying flashy. They want to party. They want to live. But it's in imperative to be mature at a young age. I even equate it to you may not agree, but with football now, with these quarterbacks. Now, if you're not good coming out the gate, there are more ready quarterbacks coming out of college because I guess the game is more simulated and more college schemes. There are more ready college quarterbacks now. So if you don't have yours together, you could be done the next year. You could be relegated to as a backup, and depending on how the league is, you could be out the league in 2-3 years if you're not mature enough to handle what comes with being a starting quarterback. Same thing with life. If you're not mature enough to matriculate and grow and to plant your flag here with life, you could just really get lost out here. May not be able to return back. So like I said, Calvin, and I agree with you. Really, you have to go through a grind period. You have to go through working 2-3 jobs, getting 2 hours of sleep sometimes, and just having that plan. But have that plan, have that vision to get out of that and grow and graduate doing something else, having a more productive life, having a better lifestyle, being available for your family, but also having just as much, if not much more of an impact on people outside of your family as well.
Right. We want to make sure that we want to make this like abundantly clear. But a part of financial planning is creating an opportunity to have financial freedom.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't have any children at the moment, right? But how many scenarios have we fell into that we said, oh, I can't go to my son's game, or I can't go to a debate meeting, or I can't go to this, or I can't go to that because guess what? Gotta work.
Gotta work.
Right. So what we're saying is the earlier you get into doing what you're trying to do, it gives you an opportunity for you not to have to be faced with that dilemma of, right, do I provide or do I be there?
Absolutely.
That ties it all up, from financial planning to the types of income, to how you invest your money, to how you create your assets and generate wealth. You don't have to make that decision.
100%. 100%.
Because a lot of times in our community, we feel, and I'm not saying that it may not happen in other communities, but just being transparent, we're 2 Black men from 2 HBCUs, from one.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that we've seen in our communities, respectively, where people be there for their kids, but they felt that the way that they had to be there was to provide clothes on their back, shoes on their feet, a roof over their head, food on the table.
Right.
Some kids need that, but also needed the opportunity to be able to have that emotional support, that spiritual support, that intellectual idea, that, opportunity to be able to be like, hey, I got this thing that's going on with me. How can I navigate it?
Right.
And not run away from it because all you have time to do is just put them to sleep, hopefully kneel in, go to sleep, and then get up and do it all over again.
Same thing. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's just being honest. Because I've seen my mom go through it, working 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Medical, doing what she had to do. My dad was a chef. And when you have 2 parents in the household, 1 parent in the household, we're just speaking regardless of wherever you are within the juncture of your life at this moment, at this time, as you're watching this video.
Right.
We just want to be clear, like, you can have both.
You can.
You deserve both. Your family deserves both.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can have both. It's going to take time to get both. You have to be selfish for a period of time. I had to come to that. I may have to be a little selfish with my time. I can't make it to that event. I can't make it to that birthday party. I can't make it to that to that mixer, that networking mixer. I have to focus and hone in my skills. I have to develop my team. I have to help them get their promotions. That will, in essence, help me and my family. But the reward on the other side of it is so much sweeter.
Absolutely. So, in closing, you know, I want to just say thank you for, us doing this Q&A. And like I said, this was definitely God ordained because of the fact that, you know, we didn't know what this would look like. We didn't plan this much ahead of time, y'all. Y'all getting in real,
Yeah.
authentic transparency, honesty out of two men that went to the same alma mater. Didn't quite know each other.
Mm-hmm.
The same alma mater, and the irony in the situation is that both two God-fearing men. My last name is Samuel. His first name is Samuel.
Yep. The irony of that, right?
So, thank you, Samuel, for allowing to carve time out in your busy schedule.
No problem.
And, this is the first of many things to come.
Absolutely.
To close us out. Any last remarks?
Absolutely. Again, I just want to thank you sincerely for allowing me on your platform to speak to your audience and just really just speak to the people about just elevation, not just financially, but just improving more as a person from our eyes and for what we've read and for what we've experienced. And your platform with Aim to Succeed and what you're doing and what you're building, brother, is such an amazing feat that that's going to continue to grow and is needed within our community. Really, really bad right now. So these are special times right now that what you're doing with your life and with your business growing. So I'm looking forward to collaborating with you much more in the future, really just as businessmen, but also as Lincoln men and family men as well. And definitely looking forward to what we're going to build and work on in the future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe to our to the page of Aim to Succeed LLC. This Q&A will be posted on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube. And I'm also going to be sending a copy to Samuel so that he can be able to use it for his platform as well. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you and have a good night. From us to you, enjoy your holidays with your family. Please continue to remain safe and use wisdom during these times. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.